Hello world, good afternoon. Third time lucky starting this stream off. Let's just hope it is working now. We have a little bit of difference tonight as I'm not too sure what I'm doing on this live streaming, but we will give it a shot. So currently we've got a HP laptop in front of me. Been reported that it has no power. Strange one. It's not pulling any current, which we'll have a look at in a second. It's not charging the battery. With no battery connected, it is showing a flashing light. With the battery connected, it is powering the laptop but not displaying. So a very strange one. So we're going to try and diagnose this. So I don't know if we can see the power button just down here. When we press that, the heatsink does generate a little bit of heat, which we should be able to see with our thermal camera. Which is just here. So you can see this is generating a little bit of heat running on the battery. Not a great deal, but is generating some heat. About 38 degrees. It does get considerably warmer than that. If we disconnect the battery and we use our power supply to power it, we're not actually getting any current draw. It's just not pulling current. It's not charging the battery. Not really doing anything. But difference is the light does change from a static light to a flashing single light. Now, according to HP's website, that is actually down to a hardware fault. So I'm thinking that there's no direct short on the board anywhere, but there could well be some type of short somewhere else. So we'll just give this a little bit of current. That's 19 volts, but as you can see, it's not pulling any current down here. Just a little bit of pre-current, but it doesn't actually rotate any further than that. So it's on and then off, and on and then off. Connect the battery back up. It doesn't come with a static charge voltage either. It's not taking any charge on there. So really peculiar. Pressing the on and off button still doesn't pull anything from the DC socket. So we'll disconnect the battery, we'll run some tests, and we'll try and see what's what. So we'll get our multimeter probes out. First of all, we'll just test to see if we've got any voltage on the DC port. Screw it in. That's never good. Yeah, as you can see over here, we are showing 19 volts coming in. If we leave that on the ground there, we've got nothing on that coil there. CPU coils. Sorry, they're not the CPU. The other coils here, we've got 3 volts. I believe this was a 5 volt coil. Yeah, 5 volt coil. Nothing on there. Nothing on CPU. Neither of them. And this will be RAM down here. Nothing on that. That's with the battery disconnected, but the DC supply connected. So it is generating a 3.3 and a 5, but no main power rail. We have some MOSFETs here, which we'll try and bring the camera down for. See if we can get these in shot. And we'll see if we can just test these. So we've got 19 volts there. Nothing there. And 1.7 volts there. And 1.7 volts on that coil. 19 volts coming out of that, which goes to all these vias here. Got 19 volts on this current sense resistor here. So we've got a 19 volt circuit coming in. Let's see if we can just get a little bit lower. Turn a little bit of illumination on, light black bulb. Okay. So it looks like it's coming out of this coil here. 1.8 volts to there. Nothing coming through. Nothing on the gate. It's got 19 volts to here, but nothing actually coming through there. That'll be the gate just there, won't it? 1.7, so it looks like the gate is low. That's why that's not generating anything. So there'll be something which is stopping that MOSFET, I would presume, turning on and giving us the 20 odd volt signal to activate that, which will then feed the back of this, which will then switch that on, which will run through to here. So let's just test some continuity. I'm just going to put this onto beeper mode, continuity mode. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the meter in the top right hand corner won't tell us what mode it's in, but we're certainly in continuity resistance mode there. So let's find a ground again, which is the same one as we used before. Just move this out of the way and we'll go back to the normal camp. So even though yeah, you know where I'm pointing. Down here, it won't tell us it's in continuity, but trust me when I say it, it's in resistance continuity mode. So we'll just see if we can get this zoomed in a little bit, just so you can see it pointing to the board a little bit better than what it is at the moment. Okay. So we've got a good ground there. Let's try this coil. This coil should be fine because we've done that. We know we had voltage there. These are the 3 and 5 volt coils that we had earlier. So we've got open circuit, which we'd expect on those. We had a coil here not reading anything earlier. I think that's pretty good though. That's 200 ohms. We've got another coil here, 27 ohms, but if that's reading CPU, that should be about right. Yeah, 27.5 ohms. I would have thought CPU is probably low resistance anyway, so we should be good on that. Got a coil down here, which I imagine is for the RAM. That's reading 133 ohms. So a bit of a puzzle, this one. We've got a 3 and a 5. It does respond from power button, so the EC chip must be working. The MOSFET here isn't working, so we look like we've only got a 1 point, but we've got no direct short down here on those capacitors. So let's have a quick visual inspection just to see if there's anything which we can see, which is a bit of a mystery to us on this. So we'll just bring the scope over and change back to the scope. And we'll just drop down a bit. There we go. Okay. So the power circuitry, power's coming in here. So I'm presuming because we've got only 1.7 volts, I think it was on that one there, and then it's not coming through that one there, it's got to be something which is being switched off with that one just there. Give it a quick brush. Should we take that Wi-Fi card out just to make sure there's no issues with anything as an add-on card or anything like that. Plus, why not? Let's pop the RAM out. Not that we had any shorts, so I can't see it being a RAM issue. Just looking to see if anything is not well. Anything with a hole in it. Looks burnt, looks scorched. Let's just see if there's anything. Using the Cliff scope, the 4K. Hope the quality is okay. A couple of gentle ring lights on it as well, just to give us a bit of illumination, and some side lights as well to try and take some of the glare out, which is always a bane when you're trying to look at things. I've been looking at the polarizing ring lights. That's after I've learned to say polarizing. They do look excellent. If anybody has got one, and they can put any comments in the chat, open to recommendations, as long as I don't have to spend an arm and a leg on one. Maybe a few fingers and toes. Not a great deal down there. That's the USB, obviously. Could it be on the USB? We've got a 5 volt and a 3.3. I can't see it being on the USB. I would have thought whatever it is on the main power rail, which is what's causing that, because we are getting voltage through on the when the battery's plugged in. We're getting a power rail of 12 volts from the battery. I have disassembled this off stream. Well, tell a lie, I disassembled it on stream but forgot to press record. So every day's a school day, as they say. Even trained professionals make mistakes, and I'm not a trained professional. One thing I have noticed about this scope, it's very, very fine at tuning in. That must be something to do with the configuration of the board. It's a business grade laptop, this one. So I think it was just short of about 9 million screws to take out. Probably 8,999,000. I think we possibly could recycle the screws and make a car do that many. It's nice and grungy in there, which is a just have a zoom down on that, because that looks a little bit gunkified. Could that be some type of liquid damage, do we think? Let's just give that a bit of a clean with some IPA. Let's see if we can get that cleaned up. Don't know if it's had any liquid damage or anything like that, but never hurts to be clean. Looks better. behaving itself tonight is the IPA bottle. I'm sure I'll knock it out all over. You know, when you watch other people's streams and they skim about the board like this and they go, oh, it was there, and they see it straight away and it's a blown capacitor. It always reminds me of Blue Peter. Here's one I prepared earlier. Don't know if I'm just unlucky, but I just don't seem to get the easy jobs. But if they were easy and we knew what they were, it wouldn't be a learning curve. So there's a couple more MOSFETs here. These will be on the charging circuit, because obviously the battery connector's down here and it's denoted with a Q number, so I believe that that's the power circuit. So it could be one of these MOSFETs which has maybe gone, so we'll test the MOSFETs as well with the diode tester just to see what's what and what's happening. And again, the trusty pink toothbrush out in the way. That's another MOSFET there, isn't it, on the Q? And this will be all power side as well, with it all starting from Q. So this is all power delivery, I believe, and components to do with that. So let's test some of these diodes, these MOSFETs in resistance continuity diode mode. Should we start with the ones near the power circuit, which are over here? So we'll start with these, and we'll see where this takes us. So we have a gate there, which is beeping. No, it shows a value there. Is that because I've turned it on? Nothing there. And try the gate there, make sure that's not going through to anything. No, 1.2, 0.74. That looks like a normal one to me. Ooh. Now we're just missing the thing. Now that's the gate to there, and that's open that way. So should the gate be talking? It is on that one, but it isn't on that one. Is it because I'm turning the gate on? Now let's... Yeah, so that's reading the same. So those two seem to be fine. They're reading identical to each other, so I don't think there's much issue with that one. Now the other MOSFETs were over here. So that's another MOSFET there. It looks like a MOSFET to me. I'm sure somebody will tell me different. But we'll look to have a gate pin just there. Nothing coming that way. 0.4 that way, and if it's like the others. So that looks fine as well. We have more MOSFETs. Are these driver MOSFETs? He's driving the coils. Oh, nothing that way. Nothing with the pin. These should now beep. when I go on this side. Nothing there. Swap these over. Nothing there. Nothing to the gate. And 0.4, which is the same as the others. Ooh, that's borderline whether it's triggering me 50 ohms cents. Yeah, nothing there. Swap over. So far I've not got any direct shorts, but these are my 5 volt ones, obviously. So we thought they were working because we've got 5 and 3 volt coming through there respectively. Don't think there was any more MOSFETs on this side of the board, so we'll pop to the other side as if by magic. And we'll look down here where there was some others. So again, onto the Q side. So let's test this one. Nothing there, 5. That was borderline. Nothing on the gate. Nothing there. Presume that's the gate pin there. Spin these cables over. Nothing there. No open circuit there. And we've got open there. Not there. So we've got open circuit coming that way. And these are reversed. Won't we have open circuit coming that way? I suppose we have. It's just a little bit higher resistance, so it's not quite triggering the meter to beep along. So the last one, have I tested this one? Can't remember. Just seen another one as well. So we've got gate, nothing. Nothing, which is good. Yeah, just on the borderline. And nothing there. That's interesting. So I would be thinking that we have Hi Tony, sorry, just seen the chat come through. Still having some issues with how I see chat. Can't figure out how to get the chat on the OBS, so I do apologise. I'm having to read the chat via a live stream on my phone, so I do apologise, Tony, for not seeing your comments earlier. I'm sure I'll figure it out. If not, I know a man who can. So I do apologise, Tony. Right, the symptoms. It's a tricky one. Oh, it is for me. The laptop doesn't take current when DC charge is applied. doesn't drain anything. It quickly drains 200 milliamps, then goes to 0. Press the power light, or the power button, the light just flashes slowly, which according to the website says it's a hardware fault. If I connect to the battery, the CPU comes on and gets warm and it appears to be working, but it doesn't take any current from the DC power supply. So it's like the DC side isn't working at all and coming through. So I've got no shorts that I can see. I have 3 volts and 5 volts respectively here, but here on the main power input where the DC comes in, I've got only 1.7 volts there. I've got 19 volts at this side of the MOSFET, but only 1.7 coming to the gate pin there, and obviously 1.7 coming out and round, and then nothing that side. So it's looking like these are switched off. I'm just going to put the battery on and test some voltages for the main power rail, because I have got 19 volts around the board in places, just not everywhere around the board in places. So we will quickly switch back to the overhead one. I'll zoom out a little bit and we will see if I can figure out what's what. So I've got the battery connected now. If I just plug this in, yeah, just get that on camera for you. This is just my current meter for my charger. As you can see, it's reading zero current draw even with the battery in. If I take the battery off, it still reads 0. So, not sure. Let me just plug the power button on and I'll show you what it does. You're not feeling too good, Tony? Oh dear. Is that too much popcorn? I have posted you a parcel today, so I hope that cheers you up when that does arrive. So we do have a flash code with the DC power in, which is that, and it's just flashing one light. So it is responding to the DC coming in, but it's just doing that. One light. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. The might be something going around. Might be an early night and feet up and relax tonight then, Tony. Just hope you're feeling better soon. Never good. It's always a good excuse though for to get a little bit of pampering though, feeling a little unwell. Just going to stick a ground in there and test this coil down here. And remember to put it on voltage. There you go, rookie error again. So that is battery voltage, I think, what's coming. I have the same problem. When I'm not feeling too good, I can't focus most of the time. Just nothing worse. Too much work, too busy. So I've got battery voltage at that side now, as we can see. If we disconnect the battery, goes up to 19 volts. So that whatever's switching the battery MOSFETs on and off is actually providing the voltage there. So it knows the battery's connected or disconnected, but that MOSFET isn't switching on to put it back round. So could it be that MOSFET? But I don't think the gate voltage is right on that MOSFET. Let's just put that back in there and just make sure we've got 19 volts coming in. So just let me put the scope back on so we can see what we are trying to see and do. We've now got 12 volts on that gate, and we've got, is that a gate pin? Let's move that down a bit. Let's focus in. Okay. So if overexposed, yeah, that's definitely the gate pin. Gate pin's down here. So 12.07 coming out. So that is switching, it's just not switching high enough. And I suspect it's because of the gate pin being low. So that little via there, that MOSFET is reading okay, so I think the MOSFET's fine. It's whatever is telling that to switch on is not giving it the voltage. I presume I'm correct at that. So let's have a look where that goes. So that one there. Turn the on and off button off. Okay, so it will be looks like it's going. How is it going to that? No, it's down here somewhere. I think it's that one there. I think that's the via. So it's not actually going to anywhere on that side of the board anyway, so it's disappearing internally in the board and switching somewhere. So I wonder what voltage we've got on these MOSFETs when we've got power. So I'll just plug the power back in and we'll see where we're going from there. So we've got 5 volts there, 5 volts out, and it's a 12 volt trigger for that. So let's have a look at this one. So we've got 19 volts on his gate, 1.6, which is what we had on the other side of the board, and 19 volts on that side. This is with the DC and no battery. Let's just plug the battery in, just let's see what that changes to, because this is right next to where the battery goes. So that's changed from 1.6 volts to 11.9. and that's just 11.7. So this MOSFET is now switched the main power rail, which is this one, over to the battery voltage, which is 11.7, and the battery is 10.8. So it's well charged to the battery. Yeah, so battery is well charged. It's coming through there, coming into here, switching it into here, and it's going into this MOSFET here, which should be 11.7, as if by magic. And if that's turned on, and it's not, because we're not getting anything through that at all. So should we be getting voltage through there? I would have thought so. So let's see if we can see where the gate is, because I can't see for looking. Now I'm wishing I bought the autofocus one. CPU is getting wham. That's because the battery's in. That's got to be the gate pin, because all those are together. Nothing coming off there. And there's nothing coming through from that gate there, which means there'll be nothing on these because it's not switching through, and nothing on that gate either. There's 19 volts on that one, so that one's turning on. So there's 19 volts there. So with the 19 volt coming through this way, when I disconnect the battery, it turns it on. 19 volts. 25, so that's now on. So voltage is coming 19 volts that way. So I was wrong. Look at that being wrong. So there should be 19 volts here, which there is. And if that's working, 1.6. But this is the battery line, so that's why that's not working. So that's switching the battery line on and off. So our main power rail is present. There we go. Inject 1 volt after the first 2 MOSFETs and check with the thermal camera. That's a good idea. I think I'll do that. I was just thinking the same. Even when you're not feeling too well, Tony, you've still got the best ideas and a lot better than I am. So the first 2 MOSFETs, I would imagine, are these over here. So let's just wind that up so we can see a little bit more of a broader scope. So I'm presuming because this were 19 volts and these aren't, this was the 1.6 volt. This is after the MOSFET, isn't it? I mean, this enable pin, this trigger, this gate is only getting 1.6 volts there. So, but strangely enough, on battery, the CPU gets one, just DC, it doesn't. So, let's see if we can just rig this up with some type of wire so I can get my... Never do that, spilt it all over the place. So we need a good ground, and we need a little bit of wire. Anybody got any wire that I can borrow? No, didn't think so. Tell you what we'll do, we'll use one of these magic probes. These are brilliant, these probes. They just unscrew and we can put one clip to our tester like so. Wonderful. So we'll get a nice ground, which I would imagine that screw there is going to be as good as anywhere. There we go. Let's just knock the current down to 1 volt, sorry. This is a bit of a terrible power supply, this. Put it on maximum and then knock it down a bit. Current sensor always after the first two MOSFETs. Okie dokie. Let's find the current sensor. So I would imagine, so that's got the two little lines coming off it, that's the current sensor. On that one. Let's see if I can get this in focus. There we go. Yeah, that's going to be current sensor. That's certainly not current sensor because I can't see anything's coming off it. And that's not got any little things coming off it. It's going to be that one for my current sensor because they're my two test points for my current sensor. I was going to use the tool, but I don't have it fully wired up as yet. Do you know what? We're going to use your tool, Tony, because I am keen to give this a shot. So we're going to plug them in there because I have got a couple of probes in here. We'll turn her on. We will knock my current down to 1.8, down to 1.4. I think that's about as low as I can go. Let's just see if I've got any current at that. So let me figure out how to use this because I've not actually used it yet. We'll do all back onto here. We're going to use this this tool by Tony, Symbol Tech. This is a voltage injection tool. This is a voltage injection tool. What it basically does, instead of giving a constant current, it varies the voltage on and off via a couple of MOSFETs, and you can set the time intervals. And I'm just checking this, what Tony's asked me to check. Yeah, we've got a short there, so that means it's we've got a beep. What this will enable me to do is the power will come in here, come out of these probes just here, and I can then alter I don't know if you can hear that and see this with the green lights flashing, and this is actually when it's this is telling me it's pulsing the electricity. So what it should enable me to do is actually see a pulse of heat rather than a static heat. So when we get the thermal camera going, which I've now pointing, if you look in the top right hand corner of the screen, we should be able to see what's what with this coming on and off. So what I do want to see is that I've got enough. My power supply is not the best, I do apologise. It's a little bit temperamental, a little bit sensitive, and it's a cheap Chinese one. I've got a funny feeling when I come down for me current that will I've put some hot glue over the buzzer because it was a little bit noisy to say the least with that. So yeah, I've already done that one. So I'm just going to get some bits to stick in my holes just there. So I've got a nice connection. Will that fit? Look at that. As if it's made to measure, that, Tony. You've done me proud on that. We'll clip that onto there. We'll clip that one onto there. We should now have life. I'm planning on seeing if I can get this this in some type of case to see if I can get it doing. My power supply is not reading any current on that, so I'm not too sure whether I'm doing it right or wrong. But let's give it a go. And in fairness, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to test that my my leads are working. If I do that, it should be more static, so it'll give my dodgy meter. Yeah, I think that's working. There you go. So let's find a ground and let's shove that in there. I think a good ground will be that there. Let's get the thermal camera running. Get this, all mod cons down. And let's inject it at so we're injecting 1.8 volts and we should can't see anything at that. So I'm going to put yeah, there's no heat spots that I can see. No heat spots that I can see. Yeah, I notice it's not taking current. I'm not too sure whether my leads are. Let me just turn that off a second. I did notice it weren't taking current. Tell you what I'll use. I'll use my known multimeter leads. I think it might be my leads, which are they're off my old multimeter. So let's just dispose of those. Goodbye, old friends. Hello, new and shiny ones. Look at this. Let's now see if we're taking any current when we switch her on and start her up. I wonder if it's my meter what's not fast enough to respond. Could that be? I'm shorting leads, yeah. Sorry, I've not put the thing back on. I'm shorting my leads, and still not taking any current. And we've definitely got. I can produce current by shorting leads like that. Just not producing it. Do you think it could be my meter what can't respond quick enough? Think that what might be it? Yeah, they're both at maximum now. Both at maximum is the current. I've just whacked them up at maximum. I can short my meter, and my meter is look, my meter is producing over 5 amps. So I know it's producing current. If I short your me terminals on there, just doesn't want to. It's probably my meter, if anything. Let me just turn those over and see if I get any better connection by turning them over. Let me swap that for something a little bit bigger, a little bit more meaty. I am using a bit of a Heath Robinson scenario here rather than what the masters designed it as. So let's just see if this is going to be any better for me. So let's just turn it on and turn it on. Yeah, I think it's my meter. I do think it's my meter not being able to maybe react quick enough. My power supply is definitely working. We've got just under 5 amps when I short the leads out. So I've definitely got enough ampage there and enough thing. But yeah, I think for the time being, let's Yeah, I think it could be power supply. It weren't a particularly expensive one, and it is a lot of years old now. I have had this, yeah, far too many years. So let's go back to what we were planning before, and I do need to get that set up properly, which I will do, and I'll do Tony justice by getting it all done properly. So yeah, I'll get that sorted. So let's just go back to how I was going to do it, which is clipping on there and unscrewing the gold probe. So let's just do it that way. Make sure I've got, yeah, I've got a bags of current there. Bags of current. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a little bit pants is my power supply. So we will flick back to thermal. And we'll see if I can make a Christmas tree come to life on here. Right, touching on the current sense resistor, it's not pulling any current. So I bet meter was working. I bet it was just me, because I'm pulling current when I go straight to ground, but I'm not pulling current when I go into current sense, which we thought was this one. So no current being drawn there. But surely these must be working, because I've got my 5 and my 3 on these here, and 1.7 I think it was on that one. So I've got my 5 and my 3 there, so I would have thought they would have been working. I can imagine some YouTubers going, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. You're right, I don't. I don't profess to do. My first live stream, it's my 4th video. But that's the idea. It's a learning curve. I'm sure it might be something to do with flux capacitor, or it could just be because it's a Thursday. Yeah, the input circuit seems to be fine. I've got 5 and 3.3 on these here, and 1.7 I think it is there. And when I measure the voltage at the power rail here, I've got 19 on the top. Sorry, I've got battery voltage at the top here when I plug the battery in. When I plug the mains in, I get 19 on the main power rail here. When I plug the battery in, that switches to the down here, switches to the battery voltage. So that MOSFET must be working, and the EC chip must be then switching these off not to put that through. But the battery isn't taking any voltage to charge. I've got power. Yeah, I've got power on the voltage on the power button as well, because the power button responds to presses as well. I can shut the laptop down and turn the laptop off with the power button, and it gives me different flash codes as well. So the power button's definitely working. The laptop doesn't post no matter what. It just goes a lot further when the battery's on. It's switching between the 19 and the 12 volt with battery powered and disconnected and connected. CPU's getting warm, but only when battery's on. It's recognising the DC plug, but just not doing anything with the voltage. And it's not taking any current draw. Yeah, I've done it with battery connected. When I connect battery, it just doesn't take any current draw. And even switching it on with battery connected, it doesn't. It still doesn't draw any current, but my voltages change from 19 to 12 for my battery. And I've gone and put, there it is. Let's see if we're looking. So if I plug battery in, I've got nothing on the laptop power meter, and the light is a constant flash, and I can turn it on and off. I've just disabled the laptop just by pressing the power button. I've just re-enabled it. Probably can't see on the screen because, like a doofus, I ain't put it into shot. So the power light is on at the moment. If I press and hold, no problem at all, Tony. I hope he's feeling better as well. So the power light does react with the button press. But it's drawing no current, so there's no pre-charge current. So charging circuit's not working, as we can see. If we disconnect the battery, and I've tried 2 batteries on here from a known working laptop as well. It instantly goes into, I've got a hardware fault. Yeah. I've got to be honest, I am totally stumped with this one. With it doing what it's doing. Yeah, definitely a little bit of a strange one, to say the least. It's really not having any shorts. Can't find. Could it be a chipset issue? Because the EC chip's obviously working, that's why it's responding to the power button. The battery's obviously working and warming the CPU up, so the CPU's working. There's no display on any of it, even internal for an EDP or from that. Not working with a known battery. I've tried different chargers just in case it's the charger, and it's not working from the other charger as well, just not having any current draw at all. Okay, so model of this laptop, if anybody is watching this in retrospective and can assist, is No point giving you that. That's a Wi-Fi card. It is a HP ProBook 650G1. So HP ProBook 650G1. More specifically, the model is a HSTNN L15C5. So yeah, if anybody can shed any light on that, these are a really, really nicely well-built laptop, and it would be a shame to not get it working. The construction is excellent, really nicely well-built laptop, and yeah, you don't really see laptops built like this nowadays. There's a lot of structure in here. It's got really good cooling, nice layout of a circuit board. It's just a shame that I've not got the skill set at the moment to be able to diagnose this and bring it back to life. But we will see. There's always tomorrow. And as they say, tomorrow's another day. So what I'm thinking now is that we will try and get this injection tool cables done on this thing what I've got of Tony. So I'll just clear the bench down. We'll make room for something else, and we will have a go getting some cables connected up, getting some cables wired, and see if I can do justice to what this is. So let me grab my bits and bobs that I need. I'm just wondering whether it's worth using the clips like this. I've got a black and a red one to do the far side of the. Or should we use thin probes like this? They might be a good idea. But I've got a couple of thin probes. I might use the thin probes actually. Then I can do it. What do you think? That might be a good call. That actually use the. I've got some little short jumper leads here as well. What I could mix and match, and yeah, let's see where it goes from there. My magic box of bits down. We've all got a magic box of bits. Not that magic box of bits. I've got several magic boxes. Several things which probably still need to sort out. Yeah, I did think about the buzzer, and I weren't too sure. I have covered it up, and it is quite a bit quieter than it was. So it is a lot better than it was. I just need to have a good play around with it and see what's what. I trimmed a load of power supply leads the other day, and I thought to myself, I'll keep those because they'll come in really handy for when I need to put power cables on things, because they were about a foot long, and I've done the usual thing of I'll put them in there and can't find them. So I'm going to butcher a I have several multimeters. I'm going to try and get this working now. So I'm thinking, because these have already got round barrel connectors on, I can use that one in there and that one in there, and this is for the negative and positive input. Set that back off and put that with my good leads. There we go. Yeah, I hope you're getting better for Friday. I need something to watch on a Friday night. I'm not got anything on this Friday, so I'll certainly be staying for your stream and see where it goes from there. Should always be a good one, as it always is. You should have a parcel arriving tomorrow with some bits and bobs in for you. So hopefully that'll be the things what you need for the laptops for you to make a start and crack on through some of those. These cables are always tangled up when you don't want them tangled up. Need to pay more attention to what I've got on screen. I know. There we go. Let's just zoom out a little bit more so you can actually see a little bit more of the very untidy desk. Here we go. So we can plug this into the output, that into the output. We should now have input, output, and wow, that's some serious fever. You really should be in bed, Tony. Get your feet up, get in bed. Nice drink of something warm. Not saying it's got to be alcohol, but hey, what an excuse to have a drink. Let me just, that's AC, we need to be on DC. So let's just see if I've done this right. Let's just flip this over. We should have 1.5 volts if I've wired this correctly. We have 1.5 volts. So I've got voltage coming in. We should have nothing coming out. We've got nothing coming out, so that's always good. If I just borrow that clip 2 ticks, shove that in there. You know what I might best off doing? Just putting them both in my crocodile clip. I shove them both in there and I can just hold these two together, turn it on. Yeah, that's a good point. I can just show the lead counter. So red to black. Right, it's now turned on. Shorten the leads. Start cycle. There we go. There we go. We are getting current draw. We're getting a really good current. Just turn that down a bit. Yeah, we've got a nice current draw. So, yeah, I had confidence in your engineering. It was just my application of getting it all working. Yeah, if we just knock that up a bit, you'll see I've got an amp current draw nearly, or peaking at an amp. So, yeah, that's fine. So, do I need to charge the battery on this then, Tony? Do you know what I will do? I'm just going to take that buzzer off because just whilst we are on stream, and then I can practice my soldering skills. There we go. Let's have a go at checking this buzzer out. Just flood this with some. Whoa. Look at this. I bought myself an extractor and I don't use it. Must say I did review the mechanic solder the other day on stream that I am using now, and it does work. Superb. Yeah, it manages to burn your hands even better than my stuff. There we go, that's one side off. Look at that. Trained professional, mate. Nice clean solder joints. Give that a wipe, give that a switch off. Put the buzzer to one side. Top one's for programming. So I use the bottom one, do I, just to charge. That basically just runs the machine to switch on and off. Okay, so understanding that now. I'm not the sharpest tool, as you know, Tony. Yeah, brilliant. Right, so if we turn it on now, we'll get on, we'll get a lights flash. And let me just turn one of my bench lights off so we can see a little bit clearer. We should see that flashing on off. So basically what this is, so like a red and green light for anybody else who's watching, and this will pulse on and off the voltage going to the short, and then it will come on and off. This should be visible with a oscilloscope, should it, Tony, to demonstrate what it's doing? Is that right? That's going to test my skill into it, using an oscilloscope live on camera. Wow. Channel 1. Let's turn it on. Turn it on. Unfortunately, I don't have this on camera, but I think we should be able to see it there. We could do with just something to elevate that slightly. There we go. Straight under there. Get my probe on there and get my other probe. So we'll ground that out to here. So I've grounded that one out, and we just stick that one onto there, I presume. And we have life. So we'll just turn this down a bit, and I'm sure if I press auto, we can see what it's doing. There we go. If I slow the signal down, so we can see it pulsing on and off. So I'll just slow that down a bit more, and then we'll just turn it up a little bit. So we can see now. See if I can get them a little spike in a little bit bigger. So we can see on here the pulsers pulsing. So if I speed it up, we'll notice it's virtually going to a constant line now because it's a cheap oscilloscope. But I'll slow it back down, and these are correlating with the on and off. If I just whack the voltage up a bit, there we go. We can see bigger peaks and troughs now. So we can see it coming across there. Nice clean signal. And this is what it'll be doing to the board. It will be it's about 2 years since I used this, so no idea on how to use it. But it'll be pulsing the electricity into the board so the components start showing up. So I've speeded it up. You'll see the time delay here, and you'll see it corresponds with that. So now we've got quite a fast signal. We've got a long on and a short off. So it's basically delivering more power, more current at a longer level, just to put a bit more heat into the component so we can still see, and then we can adjust that. This tool to find shorts is going to be invaluable for people. This is going to really start highlighting where the shorts are easily, rather than getting reflective heat spots and the like all over the board. So it's really going to be a good tool, and I can't wait to be able to get it up and running. I'm glad I've figured out how to get certain things on here, and I can now see it on a scope of some description to what it is. What voltage can I put through it, Tony? Am I going to hurt it if I put too much voltage through it? and then we can simply turn it off, and we go back to that. So we're a constant. Wow, 30 volts. There we go. I'm never going to get that high unless I do something seriously wrong. Where a constant current and voltage going into a board will generate heat, and it will make things warm up under the thermal camera. It'll be a constant glow for most things. So if you have got a partial short somewhere, it might be glowing in several places if the heat are in the board or anything like this. Where this pulsing on and off for everybody. Yeah, I don't intend on putting my scope up to that. I haven't got a clue what it can rate at. In fairness, it is a multimeter this, but I don't think the scope side can go much more than probably 5 volts. It was only a cheap scope. But yeah, the pulsing on and off of the current will make things literally flash, a bit like a lighthouse on your multimeter. Tony's got a brilliant video where he demonstrated it when he first built it. He's built and designed this from scratch. Please do check him out on his Symbol Tech YouTube, and he's in chat. Really helpful guy. Really knows his onions. Please do check it out. And if anybody is wanting to do this as a hobby or even as a profession, please do speak to him about one of these. These are brilliant. These are really good piece of kit, and I'm so fortunate to get one. This is only he's got one, and there's 2 others in existence, and I've got one of them. So I'm really fortunate and grateful that I managed to get one. So we've even had an outing of the oscilloscope as well. Crikey, that's I'll have to blow cobwebs off that next time. So if you're wondering what type of oscilloscope this is, it's the Zoe ZT703S. So yeah, it's a nice scope. I do plan on bringing it out on some streams just to see what's what with them, and learning how to use that as well. But that's probably a little bit more advanced than where I am at the moment. I have seen other YouTubers use them, but I think it's one of those that when you need one, only an oscilloscope will do to give you the right information, because obviously multimeters work off an averaged time scale of voltage, as far as I'm aware. So an oscilloscope is a lot better for measuring signals and things like that. So we'll put that back on the shelf. Said I had a magic box. So for tonight, guys, I've managed to get this from Symbol Tech working now. Unfortunately, I've got nothing to do on there. So I will put that back in its little house. I have got a couple of other bits and bobs, but nothing ready for streaming. So this row is going to be a test stream tonight, just to see if I could get online, get it all done, and things like that. And by the looks of it, managed to do that. So pretty pleased with how it's all gone. And yeah, it's onwards and upwards. I do plan on doing some other streams and seeing how stuff goes. And obviously, I've got some other ideas and some other bits and bobs in the pipeline. Sorry, I'm just adjusting the camera back because I didn't press apply. Again, a rookie mistake, but we're here for the mistakes and everything else, aren't we? So apply. There we go. It's not going to come back as that. So yeah, I'll be doing some other streams. I've had no drop frames tonight. We've obviously been trying to get used to the chat as well with bits and bobs. There's still some bits and bobs I've still got to do. I do want to say a massive thank you to two YouTubers who's helped me an awful lot. One of them, Tony, Symbol Tech, helped me so much getting the OBS and everything else set up. Could definitely not have done it without him. And James as well for his invaluable advice on bits and bobs as well. So please do check out Symbol Tech, like I've said, and also JFix, James, both from a cracking pair of guys, and really helpful and knowledgeable about what they do. And I'm going to try and sign off. Wish you all a very good night. Tony, I hope you're feeling a lot better soon, and we'll catch up and let me know how the parcel goes. when it arrives, and we'll speak to everybody very soon.